All right, time for another chat. It's been a little while. I've got something that's kind of been on my mind and sort of a lifestyle change that I've been going through maybe the past year or so that's really helped me a lot. And it has to do with phone addiction and addiction to scrolling on the phone, which I'm sure many of you watching this can relate to. I don't need to explain to you all the ways that the phone is addictive. I think there's been enough content made on that in general. That's kind of everywhere you go now. Everybody knows the phones are addictive. The apps are designed to be addictive, to keep you on, to keep you scrolling, all that kind of stuff. So, how do you fight that? Well, one trend that I've been seeing more and more now is that folks are getting a dumb phone. And I too thought that this would be a good idea. So, what I have here is one of these newer Nokia phones. Look at this. I just love this design. Isn't this like a beautiful phone? It's thin, it feels good in the hand. It's got a little screen on there. You got to do T9 typing. I had a dream. I had a dream that if I did not need my phone, like if I didn't need to go on any apps or anything, and if I wanted to stop myself from scrolling, I would simply use this dumb phone. So I would basically replace my phone with a dumb phone in hopes of only intentionally using those apps when I needed them. And this plan did not work out, and I'll tell you about why in a bit. But the main thing I realized in this journey is that there's a difference between how we consume the internet now versus how we've consumed it in the past. And I'm old enough to remember the lifestyle of having just a home computer that everybody in the family used and not having a smartphone at all times. I had like a dumb flip phone and having an intentional relationship with the internet, meaning that when you wanted to use the internet, you had to go to the computer, log in, do whatever you were doing, like AIM was something I used a lot when I was younger, or Facebook and MySpace and all that. You went to the computer to use those things, and when you were done, you went and did other things. I'm sure there were other distractions in those days, of course, like TV, whatever, video games. All of that can be considered a similar distraction, but not quite as addictive or as, pervasive as just like instant access to so many things. We didn't have that back then. So an intentional relationship with the internet. That is what I decided I needed to create. And one day I was listening to a podcast by the Minimalists, and they said something that really kind of shook me. They said, do you decide when to pick up your phone, or does your phone decide when you pick it up? Meaning, like, if you get notifications on your phone, that's your phone being in charge. Your phone gives you a notification. It tells you, pick me up, pick me up. It's not you intentionally picking the phone up. So, the dumb phone solution. This, to me, is an extreme solution. And I think it works for some people. Some people have a lot of success getting a dumb phone. Some of them even have basic like music apps. You can put music on this. This even has a Facebook app and a Twitter app. They're not going to change that icon, are they? To X. There's even like videos and stuff. You can't do a lot with this phone. Basically, if someone needed to call me, I could receive calls and I could receive texts, but I would have to do T9 typing, which I don't like. So I was essentially setting myself up for failure with this being my solution to my problem, which I wanted to create a more intentional internet, phone experience, whatever. So what did I do instead? What was my ultimate solution here? Well, I still carry around my iPhone 13 Pro Max with me. And this is still my phone that I carry around everywhere. However, what I did was, first of all, there's no social media apps on this phone at all. There's no Instagram. There's no TikTok. I don't even use TikTok like that. There's no Threads. There's no Twitter. There's none of those scrolling apps. There's no Reddit. All of the above. The only app that I have is Gmail, like the only thing that I can kind of consume. And that's it. Like I have Amazon, I have podcasts, I have YouTube, which you can still get stuck in YouTube shorts, but I don't as a matter of habit. And then I have like camera apps. Like I only have apps that I like need to have on my phone, right? And then also, I have completely turned off notifications for basically everything. Emails, I don't get notifications for. I only get email notifications for texts and calls, the basic stuff. Maybe deliveries or Uber, I'll get for this. The main problem with the dumb phone is, yes, it gives you the strict limitation of that old school, access to the internet, etc. However, it also strips away a lot of the modern conveniences that smartphones give us. And what I want to do is build better habits and also still be able to take advantage of the modern technology that we have. Like if I want to go somewhere I've never gone before, I've got GPS here. The camera is a huge thing too. This phone has a camera on it and it actually takes kind of cool looking vintage digicam kind of photos. However, sometimes I just want to take a good photo and good video, and the iPhone is a great tool for that. I've even gotten in the habit of, like, every time I see a new bug, I take a picture of the bug, and there's this feature on iPhone where you can just click on the bug, and it tells you what kind of bug it is, or it links you to a Wikipedia page. It does that with plants too. So I think that's really cool. There's a lot of modern conveniences: GPS, good camera, ability to search things when you need to. Don't have to do T9 texting, can still do FaceTime, etc. So all those modern conveniences, I don't want to give up. And I don't think that those are necessarily the toxic parts of the iPhone. The toxic parts are the apps that get us scrolling. Like you just pick it up to like get a quick hit of dopamine, right? It's literally like a slot machine. The allure of it is you pick it up and you start scrolling and you don't know what you're going to get. You don't know when you're going to hit that jackpot and find that funny video of a cat and a dog, fighting each other or something like that. Whatever it is. I still do some scrolling, but I'll talk about that in a minute. The solution, so I'm also a person that posts on social media, and I get paid sometimes to post on social media, and I have a YouTube channel, and I have Instagram, and I do some brand deals, and I also like sharing my art. I'm an artist, right? I share my work on social media. So how the heck does that work if I don't have any of those social media apps on my phone? Here is the solution that I found: an iPad mini. Now, it's not the iPad mini specifically that is the solution, but a second device I have found has helped in a big way. This iPad mini has all the apps. It's got music making apps, but it's also got all the social media apps. It's got Instagram. It's got all the places I post. It's got the YouTube Studio app, which is a big one. For those of you that don't know, there's a separate app for people with YouTube channels where you can check your analytics and everything. And I just don't want to have access at all times to any analytics. It's a quick route to depression, I feel. So YouTube Studio, not on the phone. Social media apps, not on the phone. All of it here on the iPad mini. And like I said, it's not specific to the iPad mini. It's about having a second device, because what a second device does is it replicates that intentional usage of the internet. This is a device that I go to when I have a specific purpose. If I want to use Instagram, or if I have a video or photo to edit or whatever, I go to this device. Meanwhile, if I'm just going out and about and I don't need to do any of those things, like going out to dinner or having just a fun day out of the house, I have my phone with me. And since the phone doesn't have any of those scrolling apps, I don't have that habit of like, okay, get in line at the store, scroll social media. Or, okay, sit down at the restaurant, order your food, scroll social media, right? I think a lot of people can relate to that. Any free moment usually gets filled by the ability to have access to everything at all times on the phone. So it's gone a long way in helping me break this habit. So the intentional consumption that I do on the iPad is really helpful. And I think having an iPad is nice as a second device because, well, there's a lot of reasons that I love having an iPad. It's really great for creativity, not just for social media consumption. But the iPad mini is small enough that when I do travel and I do need to bring a device that has access to all these things, it's easy to travel with. Even if I was just going out for a day or something, but I had some deadline or I had to make sure I could post or something like that, I could bring this with me in a small bag. It's not difficult. However, what I would not do is sit down in a restaurant and pull out my iPad and start scrolling on social media. And just that alone, it's not just about like when I leave the house, not having that habit of scrolling on social media. It's all about also when I'm at home, not having that habit. Because what I found is it's not just when you have a free moment outside, it's when you have a free moment inside. You're sitting down watching TV, but you're also watching TV and scrolling, right? Sometimes I do that, but oftentimes, since if the iPad has to be in the room with me, right? So this is a thing that not only I can leave at home when I go out, but I can leave, say, in my studio when I go to watch a movie in the living room or when I go to bed even. If I don't bring this into the bedroom, I don't have it in the bedroom in the morning. So the first thing that I do when I wake up is not scroll on social media apps. Sometimes I do. Like I said, I'm not trying to be like a purist here, and I think that's what got me into trouble in the first place. I was feeling very defeated when I got this dumb phone, and I realized that these habits, this wasn't going to help cure my habits because I just wasn't going to use it. The other thing that didn't work also is having like app timers where you can like say, oh, I'm only allowed to spend 10 minutes on Instagram every day, and you can set a timer on the iPhone. All you have to do to get around that is type your passcode. So I really felt like that wasn't helping me form better habits either. But coming back to the idea of having an intentional relationship with these apps and saying like, okay, I need to post something, so I'm going to this app, or even the intentional relationship to be like, I just want to scroll on social media and see what's going on. Go to the social media dedicated device, scroll and see what's going on, and then when you're done, you're done. I also recently invested in this modded PS Vita, which is so dope. I don't know if there's any Vita heads in the audience, but dedicated gaming device. And also you can put movies and music on this thing too. I love it. Really, really cool. Again, just separating the music making stuff. So I don't know if any of you can relate to this, but if you're trying to break free of that social media addiction, I don't know if I would go so far as to say it was an addiction that was disrupting my life, but I do feel a big difference from before when all the apps were on my phone and I had access to them all the time. Even I tried to keep just threads on my phone for a while, but I felt like I could just, in any moment, any thought I could post, which is not necessarily a good thing. And then in any moment I could scroll. And I'll tell you, this is not perfect system either too, because even the Google app, let me see if I can find it. Even the Google app, which I use to Google search, if you're not searching, there's still like a feed. So sometimes I still scroll this like a Google feed where it just gives you like different news articles that you might be interested in. However, when I read a couple articles, like I don't get addicted to scrolling that. I just like find an article I like, possibly read it, and then that's it. I don't go back to scrolling on it. So just my solution, if you're seeing the big trend of like picking up a dumb phone and replacing your phone, I'd like to offer this as a solution, a secondary device that gives you a more intentional relationship with the internet, a device that you go to when you specifically want to use the internet. I'm not saying I totally don't scroll on these apps and that I'm a total social media purist and social media is bad, don't do it, whatever. I'm not saying that. I'm saying if you just build a better habit in your day and you have a device that gives you an intentional relationship with the internet, maybe it's an iPad, maybe it's an older phone that you have, maybe it's just a computer where you can just use the web-based version of all these apps. You can go to Instagram.com on your computer, you can go on TikTok, you can go on Twitter, all of that on the computer. And at least it's not a device that's in your pocket ready to fill any moment of quiet time that you have. But if any of you out there have other solutions that have worked for you, I would love to hear from you. And then if many of you have recognized that and struggled with this yourself, I would love to hear from you in the comments down below. And maybe if you give this a try, let me know if it works. Just another little chat on how I try to stay sane in this modern world. And I hope it was helpful for you. I'll see you all in the next one. This has been TAETRO. Have a good one.